Hey, listen to Wrestling Up on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. And as always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we've got Josh.
Hi, hi.
It is Royal Rumble results time. That great time we get to look at what happened on the show, who won the two big matches, and what the WrestleMania card is starting to take shape into. And let's crack it off with one of those matches, just like they did on the weekend with the 30-woman Royal Rumble match. Running down the entrance from 1 through 30, we got Io Sky, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Lyra Valkyria, Chelsea Green, B-Fab, Ivy Nile, Zoe Stark, Lash Legend, Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler, Bayley, Sonya Deville, Maxine Dupree, Naomi, Jada Parker, Piper Niven, Natalia, Jordan Grace, Meechin, Alexa Bliss, Zelina Vega, Candice LeRae, Stephanie Vicure, Trish Stratus, Raquel Rodriguez, Charlotte Flair, Julia, Nia Jax, and Nikki Bella.
First things first. The first three people you mentioned all had times greater than an hour in the match. Amazing for them, but there was a downside to that, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But this was definitely like Roxanne Perez's, hey, I'm coming out party. I'm here, and you're going to have to deal with me going forward because I'm a major player.
Yeah, it's what it really felt like, right? Because there was so many stories, and as you say, Sky and Morgan also went along a really long time, but it was Perez. Although she didn't end up picking up the win, she was still a heavy focus throughout the match. She copped an elimination as well and made that runner-up spot. It was really, really good to see. Obviously, she's got her NXT Championship match at Vengeance Day coming up with Bayley and Julia, but I expect that sometime in the near future, that main roster spot we've been saying is hers will be officially hers.
Yeah. There's nothing left for her to do in NXT. It is beyond time for her to sink or swim on the main roster. And based on what we saw in NXT, she should swim with the Sharks and be a Shark. But the reason that I said it was a good thing for them, but not a good thing for the match, about how long the first three were in, is because this match was good. It was good. It was not great. And one of the reasons why it wasn't great was because they let the ring fill up too much during it. And the reason they did that was so that they could have a big spot of one wrestler eliminating half of them all at once, which is fine. Nia deserved that. I'll give her that. But that made a cluster of the match. A huge part of it, just there's too many things going on. You can't focus on anything particular, especially if you're wanting to set up any stories. Which, as we've said multiple times, this is when it happens in this match. But you had way too many people hanging around, doing nothing, and it kind of bogged it down a bit.
Yeah, there was multiple times when we were watching that show that that match, I was sitting there going like, all right, the next person out, it's going to be someone big, we're going to have to clear the ring. And then we wouldn't clear the ring, and then we wouldn't clear the ring, and then we wouldn't clear the ring. And it did seem like there was, after the first 10 odd people, there was always at least 10 people in the ring until that Nia spot towards the end.
Yeah. And she eliminated people so fast that the ticker, which was an amazing idea, I think we both agreed on that. Some people on the internet don't like fun, but it couldn't keep up with the people that got eliminated in that spot. Because it took I think it took almost a minute for it to catch up with all the names. But yeah, it was everything was being built up to that particular spot. That's why you had the 1, 2, and 3 going an hour and 6 minutes, hour 7 minutes, hour 7:47, which is a record. Then you had Chelsea. I loved Chelsea's use in this match. And for the record, she blew anything she's ever been in the Rumble before out with her time in that particular match. With almost 30 minutes of her own time. She wasn't in the big bodies, but you had Bianca and Naomi, which Naomi went 38 minutes. Bianca went 49 minutes. Bayley went 46. that's too many people being in the match for too long. And I think that was something that distinguished this match from the men's match. And the men's match has an argument to being potentially the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time.
I'm sure
And
the
I don't
internet would
say
love
that lightly,
to
because there's been some really good ones.
would love to disagree with you, but we will
I think
get
they
to
will
that one.
agree. They will agree with me on the match itself. They won't agree with me on the winner. But that's a different thing.
Give them 6
But
months to get over it.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, it did set up some potential feuds. I still have, I'm still sad that there was no return of Jade Cargill. I think that I think if she had returned, the Nia Jax spot would have been much earlier in the match. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're still training her some more, and they're not ready to bring her back yet to finish that story. I don't know, but we did get Jordy on Grace, and she got an elimination this time. In and then we got probably the biggest surprise out of all the matches. In the return of Alexa Bliss. WWE is getting so good at using the dirt sheets to really hide any surprises. Because it was reported multiple times that Bliss and WWE couldn't come to an agreement to a contract, and that she wasn't in the company anymore. And then 21 hits, and that very familiar music hits, which, again, another problem with the women's Royal Rumble. All the women have generic music, and you can't tell who they are. That's kind of problem with if you didn't have It's Tiffy Time at the start of Tiffany Stratton's music, you wouldn't know who's coming out. They've got to fix that as well. And I think I think I've heard that they're starting to work on new music for better or worse. I don't know. I don't know who's making it. But yeah, that was another problem, was just the music. But Alexa Bliss looked good. Unfortunately, I think she's still going to end up working with the Wyatt Six, despite our objections to that.
Yeah, obviously, I think one of the biggest pops of the night, right? Alexa Bliss's return. Everybody seemed to love it. Was only in there for just over 10 minutes, but I think also the probably biggest boos when she was eliminated. So Liv Morgan gaining a bit of heat there, but yeah, as you say, looked good, liked everything about it, other than the fact that, she's got her doll with the 6 in the eye and all of these little references to the Wyatt Six, and it does feel like she's going to head back down that route, I think. I don't hate the Wyatt Six on concept. In fact, I love them on concept. I loved their debut, how we were going to not necessarily go supernatural, but they're almost stuck with what Bray Wyatt had before he passed, which was just so stop-starty. Whether it be currently reported as an injury, or whether it be a creative difference, or whatever comes down. I want to see more of the group, and they had their feud with American Alpha, and they had a little bit of here and there with The Miz, and then, be it because of injury or otherwise, they sort of float away from the television, and you sort of forget about them, and they just fall into the background. And once they're gone, now you've got to start questioning where's their spot to come back, because the WWE doesn't stop. It keeps moving. And maybe Alexa Bliss will be their jumping pad to bring them back in, but at this point, I think she's going to outshine that entire group, for better or for worse.
It's possible. It's probable, and it may be necessary that they need somebody of her level to really kick it off again. I don't know. It's one of the. It's going to have to be one of those things like our catchphrase. We're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, Nia Jax obviously getting the big spot, eliminating everybody. I think 9 eliminations, breaking the all-time elimination record. People eliminated at one time, ticking all of these things down. I loved the showcase that Jordan Grace got, as you said, pop from Alexa Bliss. It was cool to see Julia and Stephanie in there, even if it raises my questions around could you have challenged for the NXT Women's Championship? They seem to have kind of retconned that. I saw the graphics specifically listed WWE and World Championships, so maybe that's been retconned out of the rules. We'll have to see. Ivy Nile getting a little bit of story with Lyra Valkyria, seemingly lining up the next Women's Intercontinental Challenger. I'm liking the new look and attitude and everything of BFAB. I was hoping to get a little bit more out of her. Maybe use Michin as the sort of leap pad, but I think there's still a little bit of potential in there that we haven't quite seen. And yeah, you mentioned Naomi, Bianca Belair. That storyline of Jade Cargill still hanging around, and it raises the same question as the Wyatt Six did, right? WWE doesn't stop. It keeps moving, and at some point, Naomi and Belair are going to lose these titles, be it to Liv and Raquel, be it to one of the many other teams that are chomping at the bit for the opportunity. And is the Jade Cargill storyline going to fit in when they are ready for it, whether that be, again, injury, creative differences, or training, or whatever needs to happen? That sort of storyline is starting to ice for me now. And they could heat it back up, but it's starting to ice.
Yeah, I think I think it's with most things WWE, they're just waiting for the right moment, and I think it might end up being during a title match, whenever that is. I don't know, but maybe we should stop him around and actually talk about the winner.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't have a whole lot of time left on this half of the show, so Charlotte Flair coming out after eliminating Roxanne Perez last, and seemingly staking her claim. She hasn't fully chosen it, but everyone's pretty much in agreement that she's going to pick Tiffany.
Yeah. I think, personally, that's the one I want. Since this is the route we're gone with the winner that we've gone with, which, again, that's that big spot for Nia, it kind of gave away who was going to win. But, yeah, I'm fine with it. Flair, you can always insert Charlotte into the main event, and it makes sense. And you can't get much of a bigger match if you're Tiffany Stratton than wrestling a Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Now, beating Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, that's a lot different. But if Tiffany does beat Charlotte, that is going to be a major launch pad for Tiffy time. And I'm interested because Tiffy really her character is a lot like Charlotte's. But there's something gnawing in the back of my mind that she might pick Rhea Ripley, and we go 1, 2, 3, 1 and 1 plus 1 equals somebody's going to have a advantage in the three-peats.
No, that's all I'm going to say on that because we don't have a lot of time. But no. Because I know you also want to talk about this tag team championship match. I'll try and get it in on this side of the song. DIY Motor City Machine Guns. It was a 2 out of 3 falls for the WWE Tag Team Championship, going 2-1 thanks to the help of the Street Profits. DIY walking out with the championship still over their shoulder, but Street Profits attacking both MCMG and DIY, sort of staking their place right in the middle of the feud.
It was a good match, really good match. It just had the misfortune of coming after a really long Rumble match when everybody's always excited for each entrant and stuff. So the crowd was not into the match. It was also kind of short for a 3 falls match at 14 minutes. And yeah, it mostly just set up what's probably going to be a multi-tag team match for WrestleMania with the Street Profits having an edge because they cost the Machine Guns the match, but then they attacked DIY, and it's like, we want these, I don't care who we have to go through. And that's fine. We'll have to see exactly what kind of combinations or what we will exactly get, but I'm excited for this.
Yeah, because you've also got...
these 3 teams will go crazy.
Yeah, you've also got Pretty Deadly on the outside dealing with them as well. Los Garza, I saw Tama Tonga staring down the championships. I think it was last week on SmackDown as well. So that SmackDown tag team division is actually pretty strong. I know a lot of the times we are sort of commenting on the weakness of tag team divisions. I think SmackDown's got 6 great tag teams. I would prefer it if it was the Tongans versus Jacob and Tama at the moment, but injury puts us to where we are. And yeah, I think it should be looking good, as you say, whatever combination we end up with, either that be at Elimination Chamber, whether that be at WrestleMania. Well, it is time to go into our entrance theme of the week. It is none other than the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble, which we will talk about on the other side. It is Jey Uso. You're back for Wrestling Up on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. Let's just quickly talk about the WWE Championship match. It was a ladder match, Cody Rhodes defeating Kevin Owens 25 minutes, leaving Kevin Owens in an absolute heap and standing over top of him.
Brutal match. Absolutely brutal. Exactly what we thought it would be. And then some. There was some really scary spots, too.
Mm-hmm.
And it added with having Sammy come out concerned with for both of them. I will say this, it was kind of a deep move on Cody's part to be over a crumpled and bloody, broken Kevin Owens.
Yeah, it does kind of make you question Cody Rhodes, right? We've already had some segments talking about is the belt corrupting him? Is he, sort of becoming selfish? And then, not even caring about his former friend, Kevin Owens, does kind of lean us towards that way.
Yeah. It's pretty clear that Cody will be defending his championship at WrestleMania. I don't think there's any way he would lose it between now and then. The question is who will he be challenged by? And it'll be whoever wins the Elimination Chamber, because it's 99.9% certain that Jey is going to end up picking Gunther. There is some universe in which he does pick Cody, but if he does that, he's not winning the match. But yeah, and I just wonder about this. It's like the old saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. His character has started morphing almost to the point where they were already because of the looks. They're referring to him as Homelander. And it's starting to get to the point where you're starting to wonder if it's not a matter of when, not if, he's going to turn.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. Next week, I think we'll have a bit more time to start talking about these Elimination Chamber matches and everything that's starting to develop who might be Cody Rhodes' challenger, because I think that will also shape how his perception is. If we do get a Cody Rhodes, John Cena potentially going to get cheered over top of Cody there. Same with CM Punk potentially as his opponent. A few different combinations there that are going to have us questioning his response come WrestleMania time. But I do want to just shift on into the Men's Royal Rumble match just because we got looking about 7 or 8 minutes left, so I'll quickly run down those entrants. We had Rey Mysterio, Penta, Chad Gable, Carmelo Hayes, Santos Escobar, Otis, Braun Breaker, ISHO, Speed, Sheamus, Jimmy Uso, Andrade, Jacob Fatu, Ludwig Kaiser, The Miz, Joe Hendry, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, Jey Uso, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Dominic Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, LA Knight, and Logan Paul.
Alright, first things first. The beginning of the match was amazing. You having Rey and Penta, stuff they did, and then Chad Gable entering his own personal hell with having to deal with Penta, Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and Otis, and it's that was something to see him have to run through all that. And then we got the celebrities. I don't like ISHO Speed. He's in the same category for me that Logan Paul is for you, because he has scammed people in the past, and so I don't like him, but I will respect him for standing on the train tracks and for a train to run him over. I will respect that. I don't have to like it.
Yeah, I think the spot was cool for sure. Got Braun over. And yeah, it's appealing towards the mainstream audience, right? That's what we're all doing. We had Kai Cenat in the audience, ISHO Speed showing up, Logan Paul obviously coming out number 30. Um, love it, hate it, or indifferent to it, it's happening.
Yeah, there were so many, and there were so many things that you could, um, that would tease for Braun in future feuds. Him and Roman, him and Jacob Fatu. It was like they're showing that this is a guy that we think is the future. Here's some things that we're showing off that he can do, and here's guys we want you to believe he can stand up to. He eventually got eliminated by Roman, but it was still a great showing for his 22 minutes. Unlike the Women's Rumble, nobody lasted longer than 42 minutes. So there was never a like big group of people in the match. I think it got to 8 people at one point, and I think that was the highest it ever got. And then we got to the Joe Hendry spot, which we all knew was coming, but it was still pretty cool. The only thing that would have been cooler would have been if he had been entered number 2 or number 1, so you could get the full entrance. But it was still pretty cool. It was great seeing Sheamus clapping and stuff in the middle of the ring, believing. And then getting upset at Jacob Fatu for interrupting. That was pretty cool. And then we got probably the second biggest surprise, because I don't think anybody thought AJ Styles was returning. Him coming was a surprise. Good to see. He got traded to Raw, by the way, on Raw this week.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting, seeing how that played out. And then we got Drew McIntyre getting eliminated by Damian Priest, and then apparently throwing a fit backstage because the moment got ruined by Logan Paul or by LA Knight. But that may just be something that maybe for him to get traded over to SmackDown and be able to deal with both of those in the future. It's probably storyline with Drew McIntyre. It most likely is. Cena showed up at number 23 for his 23rd anniversary of being in the company. Pretty cool. And then it was like at the end of the match was like the who's in the company.
Stacked.
Yeah, it was stacked. Okay, I will say this. The end was, there was like 10 people in the ring at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that.
But it was a stacked 10.
But it was a stacked 10. And it never really felt that way. It never felt like there were too many people because of the star power. And you had an accidental elimination for Sami Zayn by Jey. It's still like give me like questions about what they're going to do with Sami. Are they corrupting him in some way? Obviously, we're not going to know for a while because he got package power drived on Raw this week, so we won't see him for a couple weeks. And when he does come back, it'll have to do with Kevin Owens again. But yeah, and then the biggest surprise of the second biggest surprise with Roman and Seth Rollins getting eliminated, and then Roman getting obliterated by Seth Rollins. That made us all question what was going on, because it was like, why would they do this? And I had a thought, but I did not want to speak it into existence because I knew the second I said it, it doesn't happen. But I thought, when I saw that, I was like, what if they're replacing Jey in our multi-man tag match or whatever with Roman because Jey is winning the Rumble? And then Jey goes and freaking wins the Rumble.
You'd been saying it for months. You gave up on it just before the show.
Yeah, because they did an amazing job at making you believe that it wasn't happening. And I think that's why I loved Jey winning. Not just because I think he deserves it. He is arguably the most over person not wearing a championship right now. And the entrance he had on Raw proved that, because it was his first segment was 23 minutes long, and he couldn't talk for 15 of it because the crowd would not allow him. They wanted to eat. They wanted to celebrate for him. I'm so happy for Jey. He's going to get his moment at WrestleMania. He's going to be a world champion, and that is something we would not have said a few years ago before the Bloodline story. We would never have said that. But I remember there was an injury to Jey, like 2015, 2016, somewhere around there, that they had to take Jimmy off and put him on commentary while Jey was injured. And I was sitting here saying in our chats and stuff, they need to see if they have anything in Jimmy Solo. If they have 2 stars instead of 1. And they did the same thing with him that they did, that AEW did with Penta and Rey Fenix, and just never used them as a tag, except as a tag team. Now we have Jey Uso as a massive star, and Jimmy kind of exists at this point. But I'm so happy for Jey, and I am so looking forward to however long he is champion. And I'm hoping that when he wins, he gets to have a segment with Roman. Roman acknowledges him and potentially even gives him the Ulafala. Maybe that's why he won it back, is to give it to Jey, to like pass it down properly.
Who knows? I think we'll end on that happy note as we have run to time. But it's been great talking to you.
Bye.
Visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D Upper, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D Upper, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND Up, and we will catch you next week.